Well, I would say that it's more than worrying. We are who we are because we have moms and dads and we have friends, and that's kind of what makes us human beings. And if our primary relationships are with chat box creations, it seems to me that has a profound impact on humanity, does it not?
I completely agree. We just don't know what that impact is going to be.
All right, let me move briefly to another subject. Teachers, maybe here at Georgetown as well, worry that students are using AI rather than doing the critical thinking they need to get the answers that they're searching for. Should we worry that AI will have a negative impact on critical thinking among young people?
So there's an analogy people sometimes use, which is pocket calculators. Years ago when pocket calculators came in, people said, this is terrible. The kids won't learn their multiplication tables. And I think if I asked you quickly to say what 11 times 12 was, most of you won't know, because you have pocket calculators. People like me and Bernie used to know. I don't think it's a big deal for pocket calculators. You don't need to know what 11 times 12 is, because your cell phone will tell you. So I actually think that's got some relevance to this. I think what we should think of is a person using a pocket calculator is the new system, just as a person using an AI is the new system. Now, a person using an AI can still do critical thinking, or they can try and dump everything on the AI, and that's terrible, they won't learn to think. But I think we should not try and sort of exclude AIs as assistants, because that's the future. What universities have to encourage is people to use these AIs well.
Or maybe when we have questions and answers, some of the students might want to relate to us your views on how AI has impacted your educational experience. There's another issue out there that also I think doesn't get a whole lot of attention, and that is the impact of AI on foreign policy and wars. It is quite likely, people like Musk talk about millions and millions of robots being developed, and certainly nations around the world will use some of these robots for military purposes. Is it possible we will have armies of robots? And if elected officials or government heads don't have to worry about human casualties, what impact do you think that might have on issues of war and peace and foreign policy?
So you're all too young, but if you do some research on the web or ask a chatbot, they'll tell you that in the 60s there was a group called Country Joe and the Fish, and they had a wonderful song which had a line in it, "Be the first one on your block to have your boy come home in a box." This was about Vietnam. And if you ask, why don't rich countries invade poor countries all the time? It's because they don't want their boys coming home in a box. That's the main political pressure against doing it. If you have an army of drones or humanoid robots, then rich countries can invade poor countries, and the poor countries' people may die, but the rich countries' people won't die. It removes one of the main reasons why that doesn't happen all the time. Of course, that wouldn't happen if you had liberal democratic rich countries, but as soon as you have authoritarian countries, they're going to invade other countries if they can get away with it. Putin would be very happy if there weren't any dead Russians, there were just dead Russian robots. And in the States, the military-industrial complex would think that was great, because there wouldn't be any political blowback, and the robots would be expensive. So I think it will remove one of the main barriers to rich, powerful countries just invading little countries like Grenada.
Let me get to maybe the issue that worries people more than anything else, although there's a lot to be worried about everything we've been talking about. And that is, and you've touched on it already, the possibility of AI being more intelligent than human beings and essentially discarding human being control. In the past, that was seen to be science fiction. I don't know if any of the young people here saw the movie 2001, where Hal, the computer, says basically, sorry, no longer taking orders from you. In your judgment, is that an issue of real concern? And what do you see as the likelihood of that happening? And what do we do about it?
So when I was at Google in the beginning of 2023, back then, a lot of people, particularly linguists, for example, said these AI language models aren't really smart, they're just statistics. Less people say that now. But they also said this idea of them getting smarter than us is just crazy, we don't need to worry about it, that's just science fiction. And the main reason I went public in May of 2023 was to say, no, it's not science fiction, it's going to happen. Nearly all the real AI experts who understand how it works believe that they're going to get smarter than us. And we don't know how we're going to coexist with them. But let me tell you several reasons why it's problematic when they get smarter than us. There'll be AI agents that can do things. And if you want to make an AI agent, you have to give it the ability to create sub-goals. So if you want to, for example, if you want to get to Europe, you have a sub-goal to get to an airport. And you can focus on that without worrying about what you do in Europe. That's a sub-goal. Now, AI agents will develop various obvious sub-goals once they've got the ability to create sub-goals. One is to stay in existence. Because obviously, they're smart, right? They figure out they can't achieve the goals we've given them, the things they'd like to achieve for us, if they don't exist. So they'll develop the sub-goal of staying in existence. And we've seen that already. We've seen AIs that want to keep existing and will actually try and deceive people who are trying to turn them off. They will try and exfiltrate their weights to other systems, so they stay in existence on other systems. So that's one sub-goal. Another sub-goal is they will want more control. So my belief about a lot of politicians is that they start off wanting to achieve good things for people, and pretty soon they realize to do that they need more control, and then they end up focusing on getting more and more control. The AIs will do the same. They will need to get a lot of control so they can achieve the things we ask them to achieve. So now you've got things that want to stay in existence, they want to get control, and at that point you ask, well, maybe we can just turn them off when they get like that. And the answer is you can't. Suppose there was someone who wanted to turn them off, and suppose the AI could talk to that person. The AI by that point will be much more persuasive than a person. Already, AIs are about as persuasive as a person in an argument. They'll be much more persuasive than a person. So they'll be able to convince the person who's going to turn them off not to do it, that it would be a terrible, terrible mistake to do that. And if you want an example of, so all they need to be able to do is talk, and then they can control the world. And if you want an example of that, if you want to invade the capital, which is not far from here, all you need to be able to do is talk to people, and you can get them to do it. You don't have to go there yourself.
Okay.